Hello and welcome to your weekly Soul Tribe session where we talk about all the things to light a fire in your soul and help you find yourself again. And this week we are talking all about how to stop lying to yourself. I had to remember what my topic was today. How to stop lying to yourself. Okay. So I'm just going to get the message sent out really quick, and then we are going to get this show on the road. Yes, indeed. So if you are watching this on replay, drop hashtag replay in the comments. If you are watching this live, type hi in the comments. Let's see. Yes, please do. And then I'm going to go ahead and get this sent off. Yay. Lots of people on that list. Okay. So like I said, hi in the comments. Hi, Chastity. If you are here live with me, again, if you're on replay, just drop hashtag replay in the comments. I always ask whether you're live or replay, hang out with me and interact and be here, right? Be present. So even if you're on replay, interact as if you're live, right? And if you're live, interact as if you're live. All right. There are a couple of things that I want to talk about specifically. So I need to pull up another set of notes while everybody is getting on here. Okay, not that one. This one. So important. All right. Hi, Maya. Hello. Okay. So we are gonna, I guess, jump right in. So we're talking today about how to stop lying to yourself. And funny enough, this is the theme that, well, this isn't the theme for this month. What the hell is the theme for this month? Oh, personal power. Personal power is the theme this month, but this topic is something that it keeps coming up. In the last 30 days, it's come up a lot. And so I think it's really cool how everything just aligned. And it's my topic for today to kick off December, but it's also something that is like a reoccurring thing in my life. So it's not reoccurring with me, it's reoccurring with the people around me. I'm noticing that it's coming up a lot. So when I always talk about how to stop lying to yourself, people are not quite sure what that means, because right off the bat, you think to yourself, I don't lie to myself. I just tell myself the truth. But the truth is, see, that is a lie right there, because the truth is we all have some level of lying to ourselves. We have some level of shit that we say to ourselves that isn't true to either hold us back or sometimes to propel us forward when we shouldn't, right? So let me talk about some of the things, though, that are literal things that you would connect to when it comes to lying to yourself. So one of them is telling yourself you're not good enough, right? Now, this is a lie always. Now, well, maybe not. Let me rephrase. Telling yourself you're not good enough for love, right? You're not good enough for people to love you, to appreciate you, to support you, to take care of you, right? So not good enough in that way. Now, a truth not good enough could be you're not actually good enough at that to sell that, to do that, to run it as a business, to, take that action. But that could be a lie as well, right? Excuse me. So knowing this difference of when you say you're not good enough, is it actually true, or is it what you're saying to hold yourself back, hold yourself down, to put yourself in this place that you're comfortable, which is that shit talking space, right? Excuse me. So another way that you lie to yourself is no one cares how I feel. So you're feeling away, right? You're going through some shit. And instead of sharing that with someone or someone's, right, group of people, whatever you fucking need in order to pull through it, you say, no one cares about that. No one cares how I feel. No one needs to hear about that. I don't need to bother anyone with that, shit or whatever it is. That's a lie. That is a lie that you tell yourself, because there is someone in your life, or there better be someone in your life who cares about how you're feeling and what you're going through. But instead of you taking that action and sharing with them and talking to them, you hold it in. So now you have your ego bitch talking shit to you about, how big of a piece of shit you are and how you can't do anything right and nobody fucking cares or whatever. Yeah. Is your skill set not good enough, or you're not good enough as a human? Right. So it's both of those. Maybe your skill set isn't good enough. And you're always good enough as a human, right? You're always good enough as a human. You're not always good enough in skill set, but you're always good enough in a human. That's a great way of verbalizing it. So here you are letting your ego bitch run the show, right? Telling you all the shitty shit things about you that keep you comfortable and stuck. And you're holding in how you're feeling, what you're going through, those things that you really need help with. But here's another secondary thing about holding it in that really was became clear to me today. Like, oh, I'm not that type of person. I don't hold stuff in. I share my stuff with fill in the blank, right? Okay. So that's a twofold thing. If you're only sharing your stuff with one person, that means you're not sharing with the people that really need to hear it in order to have that breakthrough, right? So if you're only sharing it with one person, when someone over here hurts your feelings, fucks up, pisses you off, whatever it is, you're not sharing it with them, you're sharing it over here. So that relationship with that person or people will never grow because you're not talking to them. You're only talking to these people or this person where it's comfortable, because you don't want to face confrontation. So we're not going here. We're not going there over here. We're only going to have these conversations over here. Do you realize that just having those conversations over here will not heal you? Because the real conversations that need to be had are on this side. This is the important place that it needs to be. And so therefore, that's always going to be a place of sensitivity holding you back, those dark places, that shitty shit, right? I want you to realize that just because you may not be, I'm not holding it in. I'm talking to these trusted sources. Just because you're talking to trusted sources doesn't mean you're not holding it in, because if the people that you really need to talk to about it are over here, then what? There is a gap in you getting closure, that finality, and being able to move forward. So then it gets tucked in the dark places because you believe you've worked through it. You've gotten it out. It's good enough, right? Talk to who I need to talk to. And now that becomes one of your things that comes back up later and fucks you up. Yes? Yes, in the comments if this is connecting with you. So ego bitch is talking major shit and you are believing it. You're not good enough. No one fucking cares. Don't burden people with your problems. That's just going to hurt their feelings. It's going to make them mad at you. It's going to put them in a bad place. It's going to make them shut down. So, don't talk to them about it. Don't say anything. Don't open your mouth. Don't voice your opinion, right? And by the way, no one cares how you feel. So don't go talk to those people that you're having those issues with. You need to go talk to your safe people, and then you're going to feel better. All of these are lies. Okay. Everything I'm telling you right now is a lie. It just sounds good because your ego bitch is really good at making it sound good. Now, the next lie is I can't do this because I don't know how to do it. Okay. Yeah. How is that a lie, Alishia? I really don't know how to do it. I need to have my kid come stop this damn dog from barking. I cannot concentrate when the dog barks. Something about it. I can't do it. Okay. So you're like, but I really can because I really don't know how to do that. Okay, but that's a lie. You can't because you're not willing to learn. You're not taking the action to learn more about it so that you can. That's why it's a lie. You actually can, but the truth is you don't want to do the work to learn. So therefore, you're unable to do it, right? So that's the truth. I don't want to do the work to learn it. So I ain't doing it. Okay, that's fine. You can still come to the same conclusion. I can't because I don't know how is a lie. The truth is that you don't want to learn how, so you're unable to, right? Do you see that? It's like saying the same thing, but one is a fucking lie and one is actually telling the truth. I need you to see the difference in this. Like, let's say it's investing in yourself. Let's say it's investing in your mindset. I'm getting ready to roll out like an entire like life accelerator program. I've decided like all of these little things are great, but it needs to be one actually big thing. Right. And then a way that you can stay plugged in if you've like, let's say graduated, but you still want that same consistency. Right. And so let's say I'm talking to you about joining this life accelerator program and you say, I can't because I can't afford it. Not true. Not true. Like, oh, Alishia, you don't know my financial situation. You don't know what my life is like. You don't know. Well, no. It's not that you can't because you don't have the money. It's that you don't want to allocate the money to something like that for yourself. You would rather allocate it here. And now I'm not saying that the here isn't important. Like it could be mortgage, right? It could be your car. It could be car insurance, but you're still choosing to allocate it there. It's not that you can't, it's that you're choosing not to, right? You're choosing not to figure out a way. You're saying, I can't do it. There is no way. I have no one I can ask. I have no credit cards. I have nothing. There's no way I can do it. Instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to make this work. So my answer is yes, I'm doing this. I'm signing up for myself. I'm making this happen. I'm going to borrow it from myself for a minute. My mom, my sister, my brother, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, whatever, because I deserve this. And then I'm going to take everything that I learn and make myself better and make a shit ton of money. You can borrow a rent payment. You can borrow a mortgage payment from yourself. And what would you do if it was your rent or mortgage that was due, but you didn't have the money? Wouldn't you find a way? Wouldn't you find someone to borrow it from? Oh yeah, but Alishia, a roof over my head is so much different than me investing in a life coaching program with you for myself. Is it? Because isn't it the same like life or death? Like, can't you live without the life coaching program, but you can also live without a house? Homeless people do it all the fucking time, don't they? So isn't it like the same thing? You can live without the life coaching program, but you're dead inside. You can live without a house. It's just the quality of life kind of fucking sucks, right? Now, those are extreme examples. I'm not ever telling anyone to be homeless in order to invest in their mindset. However, if you did do that, once you did get back on your feet, you would never be in that place again because your mind is strong enough to do whatever it takes to build a life, to build a business that you dream of, right? But if you have the life that you dream of with a shitty mindset, and the way you look at things and the way you operate, you will lose all of it. Pay a fucking attention. I'd rather have a homeless person in a life coaching program to strengthen their mindset, fight for themselves, get the tools, take the actions. Because once they apply it and move forward, they're unstoppable. They'll never be there again. Than a person who has all the money, has all the life, and is now taking this, right? Or not taking this. Oh, I could afford it, but I'm putting my money here. Oh, I could afford it, but it's Christmas. And nobody ever says that, by the way. Nobody ever says, I can't afford it, but I'm going to spend it on Christmas presents. What if the Christmas gift to everybody in your life was a better, happier version of you? Let me just ask you something in the comments. If you told everybody in your life that they're not getting gifts from you this year because you are investing that money in yourself to feel better and to heal your soul because you've been broken and hiding it and struggling, and you want to be here for your kids and you want to be here for your grandkids and you want to be able to be there for them, do you think they'd be okay? Yes or no? And I'm talking, you could explain this from a 3-year-old on up. So when you're thinking, oh, I have little kids, I couldn't do that to my little kid. Yeah, you could if you fucking taught them shit at that age. I've been talking to my kids like this since they were little, actually 1 and 4. Ronan and I did it from birth, but we'll just say 1 and 4 because kids is 2. But Ronan, I've always talked to him like an adult. I've always explained him things from a place of fucking realness. I could have always sat my kids down and explained that. And fuck it, a 1-year-old, they would never even be expecting presents, right? They wouldn't be expecting presents because we created that, by the way. We created that they're getting presents at Christmas. What if your fucking gift was a happier me? That changes everything, doesn't it? That's a completely different perspective. Yet you're thinking you have to put you on the back burner and last and at the end because someone needs a fucking gift. No, they don't. You're the best goddamn gift you can give them. Mark my words on that. And nobody wants a broken down, fucked up version of you. They don't. They want the best version of you. They want you happy. They want you high on life. They want you feeling good. They want you flying. They want you to feel amazing. And people would give up millions of gifts for that in you. Here's the problem. You wouldn't give them up for you because you're not enough for you. You're enough to them, but you're not enough to you. And that is where the problem is, because you're the one making the decision that you are worth it and investing. Now, that was an example that I pulled out of the air, but that's a damn good example because it happens day in and day out. I can't invest in my business because I don't have the money. Well, your business is never going to get you the money because you're not willing to invest in it and you have a fucking gap. Your gap is the shit you don't know, but you won't invest money to know it because you don't have the money. Problem, you're never going to have the money, right? Life coaching. Oh, I can't afford that. I've got this and this and this and this and this and this and all this shit to pay for. But once I get that all under control, I will pay you. No, the fuck you won't. Something else will always come up because you're not worth it. All those are lies. That's what I'm talking about, right? Wouldn't that be something? Not get gifts to invest in myself. It would. It would be amazing. But people think that those instant things are going to make all the difference. Those instant things are going to make all the difference. I'm good. I mean, as long as my kids are happy, I'm happy. Bullshit. No, you're not. Your kids are happy. It brings you joy, but you're still dying inside. Your kids being happy don't make you happy or you wouldn't need me. Hello? A lie. I can do this all day long with this fucked up conditioning that we have. That's not real. It's not true. This shit that we say that isn't real. I mean, maybe I'm just a bitch ass mom, you know, maybe my kids being happy, it makes me happy, but it doesn't make me whole. My kids being happy makes me happy, but it doesn't make me happy with me. My kids being happy makes me happy, but that doesn't build my self-confidence. My kids being happy makes me happy, but that doesn't make me love myself. My kids being happy makes me happy, but it doesn't make me lose weight. Like, where the fuck did we put this fucked up lie in here that our kids being happy makes us happy? And that's all you need. Because the truth is, the happy that they make you stops. And you still feel this way inside. You still feel the down inside. You still feel fucked up, right? I know to be true that what I just said is true for you too. It has to be. They cannot fix in you the broken shit that was broken well before they got there and will be broken well after they move on with their life and they're having kids and they're doing what they're doing and grandkids, man, they're going to bring you joy. But all that bullshit that's in your soul will still be there because that's not what they're all designed for. Children and grandchildren and daughter-in-laws, that's not what they're there for, is to heal your soul in those broken ways. They give your soul a fire that nothing else can. They bring you a joy that nothing else can. But when it's the end of the day and the lights are out and it is quiet and they move out and they go to college and life goes on and everybody goes back to their places, you're still left with all those lies that you told yourself in that entire journey of life. And the only fucking way that changes is if you do something different. If you tell yourself a new, true story. Yeah? That was good. That was so good. Man, I probably couldn't do that again if I tried. Yes, Chastity. Awesome. I love it. So let's keep going, right? I can do this all night long, right? So guilty about fill in the blank. You lie to yourself. You say, I feel so guilty for this. Do you? Do you actually feel guilty for that? Or do you make up the fact that you feel guilty so you can keep yourself feeling like shit? Now, this may not all resonate with you, but what resonates with you, you hold on to it like a motherfucker, and then you shift and change it, right? So guilt is one of those things that you put on yourself. You say you feel guilty about something so that you can continue feeling like shit. Why would I do that? That sounds psychotic. Yeah, it does. But it's a thing that you do because this is the problem with humans. Your default mode and where you settle, okay? The default mode and where you settle is your comfort zone, yeah? But nobody ever said where you settle is good. Nobody ever said that where you settle feels good. Nobody ever said that where you settle is high on life. It's not. Your default mode is usually bad for you. Your default mode is usually holding you back, bringing you down, and keeping you stuck. But the problem is the default mode is your comfort zone. So your subconscious mind has to constantly make up things to keep you there because that's where you're comfortable. I call it being comfortable, comfortably uncomfortable. That's where you're comfortable, but you're so uncomfortable that you are so comfortable that you want to be there, but you're so uncomfortable that it's got to change. But the question that is the most important question is, are you more comfortable in your misery, or is your misery making you so uncomfortable that you're ready to change? Oh my God, I got to write that down. Comfortable. Oh God, I hope that's what I said. Are you more comfortable in your misery, or are you so uncomfortable that you're ready to change? I think that's what I said. God, I hope it is, because that was awesome. Right? Are you more comfortable in your misery, or are you so uncomfortable in that misery that you're ready to change? Biggest mistake? You can't have both. There is no both. It's one is always slightly higher than the other. Right? I'm more comfortable in my fat misery than I am in ready to change to lose the weight. I love my cheeseburgers. I'm more comfortable in my fat misery. And it's going to take, maybe I'll always be this way. Maybe I'll never get to the size 14, 12, 8, whatever it is, right? Maybe I'll always be more comfortable in my fat misery because of what I choose to eat. Or maybe one day I'll be more uncomfortable that I actually change, but that's what it takes. So that's where you're at. And so that's what you need to look at in each area of your life. Look at it. You say, okay, the way I feel about myself, am I more comfortable in my misery, or I am so uncomfortable I'm ready to change? And if you're so uncomfortable that you're ready to change, go to fucking work. And the best way to do that is hire somebody who can pull you through that. That's why my new Revamp 2022 is my Life Accelerator program, because that is a pull through acceleration through, it sounds bad, but acceleration through your life. But it's almost like acceleration. Let's go back through your past life, accelerate it forward and build you this life forward from there. We have to go backwards because where you're stuck has to do with your past life. So we have to go backward to bring you current, to build you forward. So the life accelerator is like the life elevator, right? And elevator is in elevation, right? Maybe it should be called life elevation. I don't know. We'll fucking see what it's called. But right now it's life accelerator. So now we've got chronic complaining about whatever. And I do this a lot. I personally do this a lot. And it always has to do with food. This doesn't taste good. This is not the right popcorn. The flavor isn't right. It's too salty. Oh, that was gross. And it doesn't matter. It could be fast food. It could be something someone made. It could be packaged food. It's not specific, right? I find that I'm complaining massively about food. And that's a weird thing for me, but that's where I chronic complain, right? So it's looking at that. And so that's not really a lie, right? Chronic complaining is not a lie. I think the fucking food's gross. I'm not lying. But the chronic complaining may be, the lie may be that I think I'm doing pretty good on being positive in my personal development and and I'm chronically complaining about food. What the fuck? So the lie could be where I'm at in my journey, right? But here's a real lie. You run around in your life, you make everybody think you're happy. Right? No matter what. I call it your happy no matter what face. You show face all the time, everywhere you go, but you're fucking dying inside. Do you know anybody like that? Is that you? Right? You put on that happy face and you just go out there and you live that way and nobody really knows. So all these things, the ego bitch shit talking, these lies that you're telling yourself, these choices that you're making to put yourself last at all fucking costs because something else is worth spending your money on more, right? No one cares about how you feel and holding it in. The I can'ts because fill in the blank, the guilty about because fill in the blank, the comfortableness in your misery. All of these things lead to self-sabotaging, feeling depressed, addiction with drugs, food, alcohol, habits. They lead to fucking suicide, literal death. Nothing scares me more than the person who is always happy. Always happy. Understand this. There's no such thing as always happy. When you ask them, how come you're always so happy? Because life is great. There's beautifulness in every day, and there's always something to be grateful for. All of those things are true, but that's what the fuck I asked you. I asked you, how come you're always happy? There's no such thing. You want to know how I know? Legos. Step on a Lego and you're happy as fuck. Let me tell you what, that'll piss you off in an instant. Stub your fucking toe. Bet you ain't happy, right? Those are funny, right? But the truth is, you're not always happy. Shit happens. Shit doesn't go right. People don't see eye to eye. People can't come to a common ground. Arguments happen. Disagreements happen. Accidents happen. Death happens. Birth happens. Loss happens. Growth happens. How does all of that happen when you stay the same? When you're always fucking happy? There's no way. It can't, because you're saying that you've already arrived and you're just there all the time. There's no such thing. So you deny yourself the truth to say that you're happy, because to you, it's better to just pretend that you're happy and see the good in everything always, no matter what, than ever face anything negative. Confrontation's too much, right? Or going to that place, maybe the truth is that you get stuck. Maybe that's the real truth. If I go to that place, I'm going to get stuck. And then what? Then what do? You can't get out. So then you're afraid that you're going to spiral down and that you're going to actually be depressed. I've got news for you. The chronically happy person is already depressed, even if they're not acknowledging it, right? So here's another lie. So in a self-sabotage action, you will eliminate people from your life and lie to yourself to the reason why you eliminated them from your life. And you do that because that person made you feel good. That person gave you something that you are craving, but that something is the opposite of your misery. So you push them away because they moved you to a new comfort zone that you didn't want to be in. You are more comfortable in your misery. So you remove that person from your life. Maybe this isn't you. Maybe you know someone like this. Hear me. There are actions that you are taking because of your misery. You're more comfortable in your misery. So you take these actions to stay there. But if I was to sit in a room with you and point these out to you, all you would do is cry, because to you sounds psychotic. Why would I do that? You're so upset with yourself, but it's also so fucking true. And if we were face to face, I could pull them out in an instant. One of the things that I don't love about Facebook Lives, right? You don't have that intimate where I can see through what I'm saying to your face and what's going on. That's why I really love Zoom and the digital world we live in. So you take these actions to stay miserable, because that's it. You're only taking really two actions to stay miserable, or an action to stay miserable, or an action to change. That's it. There's no gray area in my world. You're either taking the action to stay miserable, or you're taking the action to change. But let me tell you something. You're in the gray area, and you say, The lie. The lie is the fucking gray area. Now, ain't that something? Action to stay miserable, action to change, you lying. So you got to choose. In my world, in my mind, the way I coach, the way I teach, the way I live, the way I breathe, who I am, you better fucking choose. Change or miserable. Well, I'm going to lie. Okay, then that's your choice too. But you're already doing that, right? And the truth is, the lie takes you to misery. But the reason why I think the lie is the gray area, and I'm not saying that it's going either way, is because when you're lying, the people around you may believe that you're changing. So it presents as change. But the truth is, the lie takes you to misery, period. The lie can't take you to change. It can just make people believe you're changing. Two different things. Yeah? So this is the last part of the lie that you tell yourself. You stop doing things that felt good, but then you lie to yourself to the reason why you did that. Here's an example. 12 people joined my Shift Happens program, which I don't know if I'll ever run again with my new Life Accelerator program that I'm going to do. 12 people joined, and roughly 5 people are consistent in showing up. And 2 people that are consistent in showing up are repeats. Okay. So they've already paid and they're retaking it. So 9, and we'll go down a couple, 7 people who paid for this program, which wasn't cheap, by the way, don't show up. If I send them a message and ask them why they don't show up, they won't tell me the truth. They'll think they are, by the way, but they'll be lying. They'll tell me that life got too busy. They'll tell me that everything's crazy right now. They'll tell me that they had to take care of this person because they're their caretaker. They'll tell me that they had to work extra hours at their job. But let me tell you what the truth is. All those fucking things that they said were already things when they decided to sign the fuck up. They aren't new. They aren't sprung in there. These aren't new shits that came up. Life was busy before, extra hours before, caretaker before, shit-tasticry all around them before. So why the fuck is that your excuse now? Want to know the truth? I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I can't because. That's the truth. They're lying to themselves. They're saying all those things. I'm not good enough. I feel guilty. My partner doesn't want me to. That right there is a whole other fucking training. And it like pisses me off, right? That's one of the reasons why someone isn't showing up every week. Because when they show up to better themselves, he freaks the fuck out. So she doesn't show up. But that's not true. You're like, but Alishia, you just said, like, they just gave a valid reason. She doesn't show up because he gets mad. No, she doesn't show up because she's not willing to fucking leave him. Haha. That's why she doesn't show up. Misery, lie, misery, lie, misery, lie. That's why she doesn't show up, because she's not willing to fucking leave and fight for herself. The fight with him is not worth it for her to fight for herself. She is not worth it enough. You see what I'm saying here? This is the entire baseline of why I do what I do. Every single day that I wake up, I'm getting clearer and clearer and clearer on what my path looks like going into 2022. And this entire session is that path. And in my professional opinion, it takes at least 1 year to shift from all of these lies to the next level version of you. And then from there, it's basically that continued education and staying in the environment to continue shifting. Because when you feel you're slipping, if you're in the continued education environment, you'll fight back again. But if you're not, you'll quit. The truth is, it's roughly 3 years for the new level for it to stay. So like Maya's my example here. She's been in my world about 3 years and done some hardcore fucking work the first 2 years. And although she's still doing hardcore work now, it looks different. So she's been in my world all 3 years. And this version of her right now is the best versions that she's ever been. But she's been working all 3 years. She never stopped. She never gave up on herself. She never quit. She kept going all 3 years, working, elevating, working, elevating, working, elevating. And right now she's really inundated in my world. She shows up for my Shift Happen sessions. She shows up for Soul Circle. She's showing up for both of these right now. Now, why would she do that if she's at year 3? Because she's going to her next level. And her next level in her journey is that self-love and that self-connection, that self-confidence, that self-belief. She didn't start there. She started with all the things around her that were the most miserable. And in those moments, she was denying herself so much that she didn't feel the misery of herself yet. But once she got to this year, year 3, the misery of herself became very clear. Because really, truly, she was done, just like maintenance mode, right? But because something was pulling her into my free Get Your Shift Together workshop, we got really clear that her new misery, or her next level misery, was her. This is the person you need to face in the mirror. This is the action you need to take. This is the work that you need to do, because this is the person you're denying. Okay. Now I got to bathe again and get some shit done, right? So now she's bathing. Now you got to re-bathe in all of this shit to grow to the next level. The good shit though, right? The help, the camaraderie, the information, the kicking your ass, the knowing that you have a place to go when you feel like you're spinning out, and there's a whole bunch of people who can lift you up in that space. I don't know. Why was she here tonight? You know what I mean? So it's like steps in your journey. So year 1 is where you feel the best. If you're working that whole year, then at the end of that year is where you feel the best. Year 2 feels like you're about the same, but you're learning to make it a habit. And then in year 3, that's getting clear. Okay, what else is there? What is the next level? What is still affecting me? What is still causing me misery? Oh, there it is. Bring it to the front. Okay, now I'm doing some major fucking work on you. You're never done in your journey, ever done in your journey. But I'm clear now that 3-year mark is where you are. I guess that's the evolution of your journey. Like, I'm never done. I'm always learning and growing, but my coach doesn't need to tell me that I need to take time out for myself and map out what that looks like, right? That's no longer part of my elevation. It's done. My elevation now looks like moon rituals. Like that was my elevation this year. And I really have only been like deep into them this last quarter, you know? And so my elevation this year is moon rituals, and going into it even more in 2022. That's another level for me. What's going on with the planet and the moon and the stars is everything for me, because it affects me greatly being an intuitive healer, because that's what I am. And so I need to grow in myself in those areas to continue advancing with my gifts, right? So I'm always going to be growing, and you're always going to be growing, but you're growing through levels of yourself, right? And at some point you might outgrow me. Maybe, I don't know. And if you do, then that's good. Then you're going to the next level. Maybe you're going to go to a money coach next, you know, maybe that's where you're at. Not a financial advisor, but like a money coach that helps you with like money mindset and clearing that shit out. I do a foundation of that, but I'm talking somebody who like lives and breathes that shit, you know, that's what they do. Maybe that's where you're going. I don't know. Yeah. So this has been a really big year for me with astrology and planets and stars and, you know, Mercury and retrograde, which I've always been a big thing on, a Mercury and retrograde, but I'm diving into it more because Mercury goes into retrograde and different sun stars, sun signs. That's what I meant to say, in different sun signs. Well, when Mercury is in retrograde in a specific sign, it will affect me this way. Well, I am really learning how to work with all of that for myself and be able to help you guys through that, right? So it's part of this like big journey. But I'm no longer in my stages of hating myself or not loving myself or not accepting myself or people pleasing or not allowing myself to show up as I am because of what other people will think, or editing myself so that other people are comfortable. Like none of that exists. I don't fucking care about any of that. Like it does not exist because I'm way through my journey, like way through all of that. That portion of my journey started in 2012. We're 9 years, almost 10 years later, right? Do I go through soul cleanses? Yeah, I went through a soul cleanse last year. Last year sucked. It was rough. And it was actually, now that I look, like I was in this meditation today, and it's really been 18 months. This 18-month cycle has been rough. And I've come out of it, the last 4-ish months have been good. So you could say 14-month cycle for me. So you go through soul cleanses and that may bring you back, right? I need you. I need more of this. I mean, I'm doing some shit and I know what I have some tools and I know that foundation, but man, they're not working. That's where I was. I literally hit rock fucking bottom for me. And I was doing my tools, all my shit. It was not working for me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is all I know how to do. And I'm done with this world. I'm done with this life. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be a mom to my kids. I'm sick of my fucking marriage. I don't care about my life. And I was using my tools and that scared the fuck out of me because in my mind, where did I go from there? And I'm not like a don't want to live here sort of person. I don't believe in suicide. It's not something that I, connect to as far as a way out or any of those things. And I would have never actually killed myself, but I felt that emptiness of defeat, you see, already having all my tools. And that's when I went through my soul cleanse. And that was when I needed next level tools, right? That's when I needed to tap into that next level of power for my soul 10 years in. Because you think, okay, I'm going to get through all of this and I'm never going to hit that place again. Yes, you are. Yes, the fuck you are. And that's the question. When you hit that place again, is it going to elevate you to that next level? Or is it going to completely destroy you and take you all the way back? Because in a soul cleanse, and I always say this, but there's 2 paths. Yeah. One path is misery and the other path is change. And in misery, you can undo all the fucking work you did. Bet last year, I felt like all the work I have done on my soul and my mindset and my energy and everything was ruined because here I was on the bathroom floor. The whole fucking bathroom was destroyed. I was uncontrollably crying and I felt so fucking alone. I felt like this is it. I've done all of this. I've made all of this effort. I put it all in there. And here I am. Here I sit on the bathroom floor with the room fucking destroyed. What was all of that worth? Like everything came like back to me. Like I had wasted all of that time and like I had not actually done the work. Like I actually hadn't grown because in this moment, I was in a soul cleanse. I didn't know it though. I had no idea what it was called. I made that up after, right? I was in a soul cleanse, but I had no clue. I thought I was like done. Like, this is it. Like my life's always going to fucking suck sort of thing. My life didn't suck, but I felt that way. I'm always going to feel alone. I'm always going to feel unsupported. I'm always going to feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders and it's my job to take care of everybody else. And when I'm breaking down, there isn't ever going to be anybody there for me. I'm always going to be alone when I'm struggling. That's where I was in my head. But all the fucking work and all the love and all the energy and all the power and all the words and all the personal development and every ounce that I poured into Daniel after 16 years of marriage and knowing him for 24 and a half years, He had every ounce of strength he needed in those moments for me. And he pulled me through every fucking bit of it until I was strong enough to fight for myself. So for the first time in my life, I wasn't strong enough to fight for myself. I didn't know what to fucking do. Everything I knew to do was not working. So for me, I don't know what the fuck to tell anybody, this is it. And he just knew what to say. He knew what to do. He knew how to pick me up. For our first time since the day I met that little boy under the tree, I poured into him for all 24 of those years. And he never poured into my emotional state in this kind of strength way ever. Our entire relationship, our entire friendship. He was never this kind of support for me until this moment. So it was like, that was my proof that I had grown, right? That I had changed, that I did have something to offer because I had poured all of that into him. And it came back to me at that right exact moment. So you're going to have soul cleanses and they suck. Dude, they fucking suck. And they're not fast. They last time. They're not amazing. They're nothing you want, but there's something you need. And they shift you from misery to change. That next level, and that next level, and that next level, and that next level, every single freaking time. So with that being said, Chastity, thank you so much for commenting. I just wanted to get like my whole entire fucking thought process out before I read your comments. Yeah. And that's good. I'm so glad you're here, right? That's why the topic is, how to stop lying to yourself. Because a lot of people are like, I don't lie to myself. I wouldn't do that. Like first thought in the topic of this training is like, I wouldn't lie to myself. Yes, you would. You do it every day because we do. That's what we do to stay stuck in misery, right? To stay stuck in the shit that we really don't want, we really don't like, that really makes us feel bad. We lie to ourselves. That's the only way to do that. And if you're not lying to yourself, then you wouldn't feel those ways that you feel on a regular fucking basis. You would only feel those ways at times. It would only come up at times when it was time for you to pay attention and to make a new shift and a new change, right? It wouldn't be a constant. It would be sporadic because it would be your intuition saying, hey, it's time to do some fucking shit. That's why you're feeling this way. Instead of like, man, this is just how I feel, Okay. So I'm moving out of the people pleasing and editing myself phase slowly. Yeah. And that sucks, right? Because when you move through it slowly, guess what happens? You make some strides and then boom, you're right back to like completely into misery. Okay. So my advice to you is stop the slowness, jump the fucking ship, because truth, you're choosing misery when you make small changes. Small changes mean shit because they pull you backwards. I am not a baby step person. I will never coach or preach baby steps because I believe baby steps to be what's wrong with this fucking world. The slower you move, the longer you're stuck and you're pulled back because you're not making enough headway to not be pulled back. You're like 50, 60 fucking years of baby steps to finally cross over if you ever fucking make it. The chance of you crossing over to the change is slim to none. Yeah, dark night of the soul. Yay! I love that. So Chastity says, I love it. I love watching your fire in these trainings. And now I love being able to watch you talk about these spiritual topics that I can't get fired up anywhere else. I feel like, I don't know. My purpose is, the way I deliver it and the way that it comes up and the way that it comes out is the reason why I'm here. There are people talking about something like this all over the place, right? But no one delivers the way that I deliver because there's only one me. And it has taken me this entire year to figure out that a life coach is definitely where I'm supposed to be. That's where my soul is supposed to be. Business coaching, I, have attempted to step out of so much, but there is a part of business coaching that lights a fire in my soul that if I don't have it, a part of me feels dead. A part of me feels dark. A part of me feels like there's something wrong because I just thought Life coaching, that's it. That's where you're supposed to be, on fucking stage, life coaching people, writing books. Like, that is your zone of badassery. That's where you need to be. And so when I went into 2021, that's all I was going to do. I was done being a business coach. But then there's that also truth, right? That was a lie. The lie that I told myself was the only place you need to be, the only thing that your soul needs, where you're being called to live and to be and to breathe in that space, is life coaching. Business coaching, you don't like. It drains you. It annoys you. It's just not your thing. So that was my lie. I didn't know I was telling myself the lie. I thought that was the truth. How I found out it was a lie is I quit business coaching for 6 months. I took a sabbatical of everything, really. And when I started coming back, it was the fire for business coaching that got this today. So like, the business coaching fire brings out the power of life coaching inside of Power Coach Alishia. And without that business fire, this power is just not the same. It's all part of the big package, right? So anyways, you never get out of lying to yourself. You still will do it. You will still develop it. You'll find new ways to say it. It's being able to catch yourself, right, in that lie, or taking action that proves to you that that's the lie, right? And like, so now that I've told you this and you've been part of this training, it's going to open your eyes. You're going to see it. You're going to be like, holy fuck, I'm lying to myself. No. Wait. Rephrase, right? And then you're going to tell yourself the truth. Sometimes I'll be training and you'll go, never mind. That's not the truth. The truth is, and then I'll say what the truth is. And sometimes I'll get off of training and I'll be like, fuck, why do you do that? Nobody knows that that wasn't the truth. And then you do that and it like discredits you or something. That's ego bitch talking, right? Ingy, inner nudge for good. That intuition says, no, that's beautiful, because people may not realize it, that I'm actually lying to myself and then telling the truth on the training. But I know that, right? And now that I've taught you this, you'll hear me catch myself. Actually, never mind. That's a lie. What I meant to say was this. And I'm not lying on purpose. It's just like what comes out of my mouth. Protection, misery, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing it. And so sometimes it'll come out and then I like pull it back and I tell the truth. Now that's a habit for me now, to catch myself in the lie and then to tell the truth. That is now a habit. But it was me learning this and going through this and this whole last soul cleanse that I went through. So I'm going to wrap up here, and this is going to be on the podcast. This is my next podcast episode. I don't remember what number it is, but it is absolutely going to be my next podcast episode, because there isn't anything better that I can make as that episode. This needs to be said. It needs to go out to the world. So this is absolutely going to be it. But the last thing that I'm going to say is that you're never done, dude. You're always growing and learning. You never get to a point where you don't lie to yourself. You never get to a point where you've arrived. You never get to a point where you're done doing the personal development and the work on yourself. You're never fucking done, because you're human, having human experiences. And every single time you have a human experience, your humanism attempts to creep back in and fucking take over, right? Which is different than your spiritualism. Your spiritualism is what guides you and what's leading you. But these human experiences is what teaches you how to listen to that spirit. Does that make sense? And so it's really just the battle of you being a human and a spirit in a physical body. And that's really what it is. And learning how to navigate those human experiences using more spirit than human. And you'll do that your whole life because you're human, or your whole physical life because you are human. That's why it never ends. And then your body dies and your spirit leaves and it decides it wants another fucking human experience. By the way, this is my belief, maybe not yours, but it decides it wants another human experience, and boom, back into another body it goes, and then goes through it all again. That's how I believe the cycle of life is. I don't know if my belief is true, but it's true for me, right? So look at your belief and look at that battle, however you want to look at that. Some people would say it's, the battle between being human and God. Okay, same difference. But maybe you believe when you die, your spirit doesn't go anywhere else, right? I don't know. But figure out how to take what I just said and apply it to you because it's true. I never want you looking for the end. I want you looking at growing, because that's what we need as humans, is to continue growing and evolving to feel like we're worth something. And when we stop growing and evolving and we get stuck, that's when all of these lies compound on each other and they take over to be what we say is our truth. All right. I know that you absolutely love that session. What I want you guys to do, whether you're watching this on replay or live, is I want you to go right inside the Soul Tribe group and post your number one takeaway from today. What was something that I said to you? So not on this video. I want you to go into the group and what was something that you absolutely loved that I said on today's training. If you are watching this on YouTube, you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go to community.soulhealingzone.com. Again, that's community.soulhealingzone.com and post your number one takeaway there. The last thing that I want to say before I wrap up here is coming up on December 14th, 15th, I believe it is, I am doing a 2-day Soul Fire retreat where we're going into more of this, right? I really didn't give you any hows on this. Inside of that Soul Fire retreat, I will be giving you more of the how. So if you want to take this work further and really start your journey, right, of change instead of misery, I want you to type change in the comments. I'll shoot you a message. We'll get you set up into the retreat, get you registered for it, and then you can take part in it. And even if this is after December 14, 15 to 2021, you can buy into that retreat and watch the replay, right? So you can still type change in the comments. I'm always checking the comments, get notifications of them. I would love to freaking help you. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye.